Welcome to the Joys of the Journey. Today's episode is going to be about my personal experiences with great teachers and coaches, and also my experience with not so great coaches, and other things that I'm going to share on the podcast. I've wanted for the longest time to record this episode, but for different reasons, it was always like out of the picture. For the past couple weeks, I had really good conversations with athletes and a reminder of what kind of experiences I have, what kind of experiences they have, whether it's a coach, whether it's a teacher in school. And so I'm going to share my side. I feel in life there are two types of coaches or teachers in school. One type will do anything they can to motivate you, get you out of the comfort zone, help you become successful. The other part will be those who always show you how you will never be good enough to reach them, to reach their level, their knowledge, and they'll find a way to sabotage you. I'm sure that everybody can relate to that when you're in school and you're younger. I don't know what age is everybody that is listening to the podcast, but in general, when you're going back to elementary school, middle school, or high school, depending again your age, you're always going to remember teachers who you loved, even though the subject might not have been your favorite, but they made you fall in love with everything they were teaching and the way they were with you, and you always remember them for the rest of your life. And there are others who, whether it's your favorite subject or not, it was something you couldn't get faster like through it. Like you were hoping the year goes fast by because of those people. And I do remember this is a story with one of our kids being in elementary school. There was this year which we thought that he didn't care about school and this and that. But at the end of the school year, we were chatting to the bunch of the parents who were in his grade, and everybody was saying the same feedback about the teacher. And I literally thought it was always my kid's fault for not listening, for this and that. And the notes we were getting how your kid doesn't belong here or stuff like that. And all of a sudden we found out a lot of the kids, 99%, were getting the same messages. And also the way this teacher was doing the grading, it was really interesting where she was marking him off and other kids in the class for you were standing too much like this when you're reciting something, or you looking her in the eyes or something stupid. And I think this was the year that she completely broke my kid, and he didn't care about this anymore after that. And I remember like I had that conversation with him. I was like, you're not gonna let somebody break you. You're not gonna let somebody's opinion about you be who you are and who you're gonna become. And thank God later on, he overcame that. But for the long time, it did haunt him, and he was a young kid. So many have experiences like that. I had experiences like that in school, elementary, when I was younger. Just I had teachers who were they just didn't like me for certain reasons. And I was actually a very quiet kid in school, elementary and middle school. I wouldn't say quiet for high school, but I would say elementary. Like I wasn't really like I was doing my job and stuff. The teacher just didn't like me, and she was showing it her two favorite kids in the class to everybody, and we were like, nobody. Now, this is the same thing when you're going and you're becoming a coach, or no, when you're being coached. When I was an athlete, you always can make a difference between a really, really good coach who is going to support you, there for you, cheering on you and stuff like that, and who just doesn't care. But I will never, there are a couple things that happened. I remember when I was very little and I started fencing, the coach was whacking me with the sword. I don't want to mention which sword was it because I don't want to go to details with that. When I was in a guard position, like hitting me hard because I was embedding my knees or something, which I follow instructions. I'm not somebody who is a rebel and trying to purposefully do something, but hitting somebody, I don't see in any shape or form necessary. And it's scary. It was scary to me because I have never been hit in my life. And that was the first time somebody put their hands on me, like hitting you with something. That was the first time. And the next thing was we were at a sports camp, and we were different sports, different athletes, different kids, and we were like a couple minutes late, I think, for meeting in front of the building or something. I just don't remember what was it. And I remember I was running because I will never be late. I'm just following the rules. And I remember I was the first one, everybody else was after me, and I went to the coach that was waiting for us. That wasn't my personal coach. That wasn't a fencing coach. This was a track and field coach. And I remember that I went in front of her and I said, I'm so sorry that we're a couple minutes late. She slapped me. I still remember this, and I cannot believe that somebody can do this. First of all, she didn't even know me. I wasn't her athlete. I was just shook. I've never been slapped in the face, like, let alone somebody who doesn't know you. The saddest part is that many coaches saw that nobody said anything about it. Neither my coaches said anything about it. And that was the saddest part. And I think like that's why a lot of times when something happens or when I hear something, I'm like ready for a fight, kind of not necessarily ready for a fight, but like I take it very like personal when somebody's attacking somebody this way because I don't think it should be necessary. But it's just, it's almost like I wouldn't claim it's a trauma. It's not like I'm living my life with remembering how this low life woman, in my opinion, right now, just because she slapped me, I'm not going to change my life and stuff. But now you know what is bad and what is good and what should never be necessary and stuff. And it was just one of those experiences. The sad part is nobody had my back. You cannot do anything about it. She didn't slap her track athletes. She slapped me. So anyway, long story short, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. But I'm just saying that like there's certain things coming out when I hear kids being told something from coaches or something, I get really triggered. When you're an athlete in Europe, in Bulgaria, a government was subsidizing fencing at that time. And so when you win a tournament, when you win nationals, like there's money going to the club that you're training at. And I was national champion multiple times. And that's when if I win the national championship title, then I had my coaches there for me. But during the training, they weren't there. I'm talking about the early years. During my D, it's not really necessary. So for all of you guys who have your coaches being always there for you, always supporting you, and your parents and everything, cherish those things because honestly, like there's nothing like you being alone against the entire world, and you're only being acknowledged if you win because they get money from the government. That's all I'm gonna say. Now coaching for over 20 years, I've heard a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things. I will never tell somebody, oh, this coach is not good or this coach is bad. What makes a good coach? Somebody who truly cares. Somebody who will not put their own like success, their own like legacy in front of the athletes. That's what I'm gonna say. And they're always going to be those people, and that's okay. I mean, everybody can figure out how they want to live their life. Everybody can decide what they're willing to do and not willing to do, what they're going to compromise and not compromise. This is something how the world goes. This is the same thing for the teachers in school, same thing for any sport coaches or any leaders, right? The question is who those who follow. I've had enough share with people who share stuff with me and my experiences with certain people in the United States. And there's no age where people will make you cry. There's no age, and people do anything sometimes to sabotage you and what you do. So now I want to speak about the athletes. You as a parent, if the parents are listening, my biggest suggestion for you is, guys, always talk to your kids. Always monitor how they're acting and behaving. And sometimes you will think like, oh, because they're teenagers and this and that, but you always got to figure out where is he coming from, why they're like always sad and upset and talking down to themselves, because we've had those kids and I had those conversations where I had to dig so like deep for the conversation that to find out that because such and such coach have told this kid, um, you're not going to be good enough, you got to quit and this and that, and it's heartbreaking. Because no matter how many incredible things you're going to tell this athlete, the athlete will always remember, or the kid that is going to school will always remember the one negative thing somebody has told them. And that's why I always tell the kids, like, turn everything into motivation, but also you have to know your why. Move away from those situations, move away from situation where you want to be so successful or you want to be enjoying whatever you're doing, whatever sport you're doing, or whatever you're doing, and focus on people who support you to be who you want to be and who you want to become. I cannot guarantee that everybody that we train will be world number one, and this is something ridiculous if somebody can promise you that. But one promise that I wish every coach can do for their athletes is like that they're going to do everything they can for them to enjoy the sport, for them to learn, and be there for them when they need to, because there's already enough pressure, a lot of pressure for those kids, for success and what success means, and for some of them who are focusing on Ivy Leagues or whatever that is. But let's start with the fun about the sport. Let's just have fun first. Let's just see where it leads us and stuff. And not necessarily making it to, it has to be Ivy League, it has to be recruitment. My kid has to make the team, and all those kind of things, because you're getting the fun out of it. If it happens, it happens. That's great. It's a bonus. But if it doesn't happen, that doesn't mean that your kid didn't succeed in the sport. And we have to define the word success. What the success means of you signing up your kid for sports. Is it for you, for the kid to become more focused and create like those friendships with kids who are like-minded and share their struggles in school, sometimes struggles with whatever. This is life. We all struggle at a certain point. Or is your goal is to definitely to be Ivy League? Because if somebody doesn't do something with love, it's very, very hard to be enjoying the whole journey. And being an athlete and successful athlete, it's a very long journey, and sometimes it's a very painful journey. So me as a coach, of course, I want my kids to succeed. Of course, I want all my kids to achieve every single goal that they're gonna have. But sometimes it's not gonna happen, and most times it's not happening. But I always wanted them to cherish this, how far they have come from the time they started, regardless of their fencing results. There's so much to live after sports. There's so much to live for every single day. And their tournament results, as I always repeat over and over again, we should never define them. If you become a national champion, this doesn't mean that your life is going to be super successful. If you finish last at nationals or any event, this doesn't mean that your life is not going to be successful, that you're not going to be a good entrepreneur, that you're not going to be a good businessman. None of those things have like anything to do with each other. If you're driven, if you're confident, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to learn from others and be coachable, this is what success is. So this is my take on this. I have so much to say, but I don't want to keep this podcast very long. I just want to make kind of to the point, and hopefully this helps everybody. And probably we're gonna have another episode of this where Chris can share his experiences and his point of view. So there's certain things that I actually have wrote for what the kids have told me before. You're never gonna make it. You're not good enough. You should quit. Coaches giving, when I train, coaches giving points to the opponent to purposefully make the other kids miserable. Coaches playing favoritism with, let's say, 2 kids, and everybody else is. This was my experience as a fencer in the United States. Maybe one day I'll spill all the beans, but for now we're gonna just keep little crumbs. Some coaches, they don't have the knowledge, but they're pretending to have it, but they cannot back it up with their results, and they're not willing to learn. I always ask questions. I don't think I've reached my top tier point. I don't think I will ever will reach that point, because I want to evolve constantly. I want to get better every single day. And sometimes you got to take steps back in order to move forward, in order to do more steps. And I see it this way. I'll never stop learning. I don't think I'll be like, oh, I'm the greatest coach out there. I don't think there's such a thing. I don't know how can you make this criteria? Is it the coach that is winning, is helping somebody win 10 Olympic medals, or some people 10 Olympic medals? But then I can argue with that. What about the coaches who have started with some kids, and then those kids took off with other coaches for the senior level? Is that coach not good enough coach? Do you know what is the hardest part? And I'll be truly, brutally honest with everybody. The hardest part is developing those athletes. The hardest part is not getting ready fencers for a junior, senior level. This is not the hardest part. They're already built fencers. The hardest part is starting them all from the beginning, and telling them that they are capable of doing so many things, believing in them when they don't even believe in themselves, training them and visualize how great they can become, what kind of incredible humans they can become when they still don't believe they can be. And one day they are becoming those people, and you're very proud of those people. And then if they go to, kids are going to college and stuff like that. This is how life is in the United States. And then other coaches are saying, oh yeah, this is my fencer. Yeah, no, it's not. We know. But I'm just saying, and I'll say to everybody, the hardest part is developing those kids. And if you don't believe me, try yourself if you've never done this to see what it is. So you're welcome for the TED Talk here. I've already mentioned the parents to be aware of how their kids are behaving. Are they getting more excited to train? I mean, obviously, when you're competitive, you don't always get excited to train. Sometimes the kids are very, very tired, including my own kids and stuff. But we're just saying, like, what kind of experience they're getting in the club. How is them training? How is your relationship with them? Because they're training. What is the dynamic in the club? What is everything? I will tell you, I love having parents at the club, but not when they start interacting with the athletes. There's a certain boundaries that needs to be put. Of course, parents want to see their kids. If you're not a parent and you are thinking like, I don't want the parents to be in the club because they're distracting kids and those kind of things, I get that part. But also me as a parent, I want from time to time to see my kids perform. This is the good time. This is what we're waiting for. When our kids are growing, they can train, they can perform, and all those kind of things. So that's my belief. That's not what everybody believes, and that's okay. I don't judge anybody. I'm telling you what is in my academy. The only thing we always talking to the parents is like, I don't want too much interaction with the kids when they're training. You can stay and watch. That's fine. I don't want discussions. Yeah, we have coaches for that. The parents are being parents. We're being coaches. Once you enter the academy, we're becoming their parents and stuff like that. It's very respectful. There's nothing. I'm not stepping everybody's boundaries, but I don't want them to step on our boundaries as a coaches because it creates kind of not very healthy environment. Somebody told me a while ago. This person was training very, very hard, and there was a moment every time something happens, and this person's like, "I know I'm bad. I'm lazy. I'm not training hard enough, and this and that." And Fencer was training very, very hard. And I do remember having that conversation. I'm like, you're not lazy, but there's something different. Why are you saying you're lazy? And then we went to the bottom of it because this person has been told, you're lazy, you're this, you're that. This person's confidence was broken completely. So I apologize for jumping on and off, but those are reminders of what I want to share. And yeah, and I'm sharing it. So those are kind of the main points that I wanted to point out about kids and about coaches. And I'm telling you, this is my personal experience. I'm not here to speak bad about anyone, but I want to make sure that we're creating this healthy environment, this healthy place for kids that are feeling safe, encouraged, having a good time, because the world out there with the social media, it's already so toxic for the kids. And when they do sports, we would love to do this incredible experience for them. For whatever reasons, for the whatever amount of time they sign up, for whatever they sign up, whether it's recreational, competitive, and so on and so forth. I think we as coaches and we as teachers can make a huge impact in their life. And they didn't sign up to be put down because the social media puts them down daily. There are many peers that I have that they probably put them down daily. So we want to make sure we are making that difference because sports are extremely, extremely important in kids' development. There's no kid that should not do sports. We're not talking about doing like being a national champion. Like you should be doing sports. You should be active regardless of your capabilities. And the parents signing up for sports don't necessarily sign up only for the end, like, oh, IVs and world championships. Sign up because your kid is becoming a better human. Your kid's confidence is one of the most important skills your kid can learn from sports. Music is great. And I always love when our kids are doing music, but still music doesn't build that. The sports too. Music is great for the kids to relax and do something on the side to balance, their competition and training and pressure, but the kids need to do sports. Because when you're in the comfort zone, you don't grow. You don't get better. You get better when you're doing something uncomfortable. Nobody likes discomfort. It's not fun. It's stressful. It's inconvenient. But with that, you are becoming better. And that's why, like, I speak with my kids sometimes, like, I do you a favor. I don't do it because I want to torture you in any way. Choose a sport and let's do it. It doesn't have to be fencing. Do anything you want to do, but you got to be all in. All in means like doing your best when you're there. I don't care if you're going to compete or not. Those are the main things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I hope it's not too long. I hope you're not bored and stuff. I just want to make sure that like we start thinking about the bigger picture of our kids and make sure that our kids are doing something they love and they're going to cherish for the rest of their life, instead of focusing necessarily on like one or two things that only 1% of the kids or 2% of the kids will be achieving, because this way our kids will think that they're not successful, that they're losers, and they're not. As long as you're not quitting, you're not a loser. And actually, if you quit because you're not finding fun in it, that still doesn't make you a loser. But we don't like complaining, we don't like excuses. Well, I didn't perform today because I didn't sleep well. Well, that's okay. I mean, we going to schedule your tournaments or your performances during the times you sleep well? You got to deal with it. We as parents are dealing with this every single day. I don't feel every day waking up and being excited. Sometimes I'm extremely tired. We still have to cook. We still have to clean. We still have to drive. We still have to work. We have to do this no matter how you feel. Obviously, when you feel in a mood, it kind of goes better than when you're not, but that's the overall picture. This is pretty much it for today. I'm happy that I got over with this, like, because I wanted to record for the longest time. And we were talking with some of the parents when we were going to the tournaments, because we chit chat about, hey, what are you going to record next? And this and that. And those are certain very important subjects, in my opinion. And I want to make sure that I share what I believe in. And I'm excited for whoever is coming up to be a guest at the podcast. Sometimes I skip a week of podcast just because I'm busy with the business and my kids and the athletes and traveling. And it's a super crazy season, super crazy schedule. And you guys see, but anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys love this podcast. Please share it with everybody, support the podcast. Write a review if you would like to. You can watch it on the on the YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.